Welcome back to TechKnow, everybody, and today's gonna be a fun one. AMD is becoming an AI chip company. Here's how. See, AMD's revenue for this last quarter, being the second quarter in the year, was over $1 billion in sales revenue. Why this is so big is because their revenue in 2023 as a whole was $1 billion. So them making that in a quarter of the year period is really big. This comes from AMD releasing their Instinct Accelerator MI300 chips, which was a direct competitor to NVIDIA's AI chip. These did really well. Along with that, the fact that Ryzen sales are up 49% while Xbox and PlayStation sales are down 59% also helps them get this huge number. But I say they might be an AI chip company because one of their biggest things was them releasing the MI300, which was an AI chip. Seems like everything's AI nowadays. Google's new OpenAI is supposedly the safest one. Google's working on introducing their brand new generative AI to Gemma 2B, Shield Gemma, and GemmaScope, and supposedly it's safer. The idea of their brand new generative AI is quite literally to be safer, smaller, better, and most shocking of all, transparent. First of all, Gemma 2B is meant to be a safe, versatile AI, meant for things like researching. And it's not supposed to be very complex, as it is the simplest out of all of these. Whereas Shield Gemma is meant to be kind of like an AI filtration system to try to filter out explicit and toxic content. Pretty helpful. On the other hand, GemmaScope is way more complex. GemmaScope's idea is to help developers get to know the code and systems of AI. It compartmentalizes itself in such a way that allows it to be much more consumable. And you know what? I love this, but I just wish big tech companies could actually apply some of these things elsewhere. Next up, Intel is still having problems with their 13 and 14 gen processors. The recent revelation with the 13 and 14 gen Raptor Lake chips by Intel have been causing quite the stir on the internet after they've been crashing whole computers because the CPU just quits working. While we can't quite grip the whole veracity of Intel's statement because of the insane number of variables, from your power supply to your motherboard to the RAM on your computer. We can, however, help you make sure this doesn't happen. Because we know the question you're asking is, how can you keep your processor from destroying itself? And while I can't guarantee this will work, I can give you something that probably will. If you have an Intel 13th or 14th gen processor, try switching to the default CPU setting, Intel Baseline Profile, and keep your BIOS as up to date as possible. And that's what we can do for now. Next up, Apple's AI will leave you, well, see, Apple's AI was recently released to beta testers, and the beta testers for Apple's AI, well, they gave us all the new features that'll be coming to it, and it really isn't anything new. This new AI update to iOS will allow you to be able to type your questions into Siri, and that's it on that part. The main part of the update will be, in fact, to your text. Apple AI will let you be able to have nice predictive text, at the same time as being able to have the AI summarize your texts or a group of texts. So, while this all is pretty cool, it was all invented years ago, including the fact that the last feature I didn't tell y'all, it's going to be able to do basically what Grammarly does and just correct all of the words and like put it into a nice formal thing. That was invented years ago. And lastly, but certainly not least, shareholders have been trying to sue Crowdstrike after the Microsoft incident. This is because while the stock was trading extremely high, anywhere between $370 and $390 per share, after the Microsoft incident, it plummeted to about $320, which was a $50 cut, at least, in the shares. And shareholders weren't happy about this, so they filed a lawsuit. But P.S. it's not gonna go through. You can't sue someone for that. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of TechKnow. If you want more tech news, just go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Leave a like on the video. We really appreciate it. And we will see you guys in the next episode of TechKnow.